Welcome to Hollywood Bulletin, where we pull back the curtain on the legends, the drama, and the truth behind music's biggest icons. Today, we're diving into something few fans ever imagined possible: some of the biggest legends in rock and punk history have been secretly trashing the Beatles for decades. That's right. While the world celebrates the Fab Four as the most influential band of all time, behind the scenes, major names have had very different opinions. And the backlash. It's loud, brutal, and in some cases, it's completely career-defining. Let's start with Frank Zappa. Known for his experimental sound and unfiltered critiques, Zappa allegedly had no love for the Beatles, according to multiple industry insiders. Zappa once barged into an Abbey Road session and told George Martin to his face, "You're polishing turds." He supposedly claimed the Beatles couldn't even play their instruments properly, let alone create music worth recording. That incident, sources say, left the studio in stunned silence. But Zappa didn't stop there. During rehearsals with his band, he reportedly ranted that the Beatles represented everything wrong with pop music: manufactured emotions, simple arrangements, and lyrics for 12-year-olds. The release of SGT, Pepper, only fueled his fire. He allegedly mocked the album as a children's record disguised as innovation. Zappa's contempt ran so deep, some say it shaped his entire approach to avant-garde music, using chaos and complexity to reject the Beatles' clean polish. Next up, Iggy Pop, the godfather of punk. Sources claim his hatred of the Beatles wasn't just about music hits, was personal. During his early days in Detroit, he reportedly blasted the Beatles for killing rock's danger and turning it into safe, suburban sing-alongs. In one shocking incident, Iggy supposedly confronted Paul McCartney directly at an industry event and said, "You turned rock into a boy band. Real rock should scare people." He even designed his stage persona as the anti-Beatle: raw, unpredictable, and wild. Rumor has it, Iggy encouraged up-and-coming punks to be everything the Beatles were too scared to become, creating a whole counterculture movement in the process. At number 4, Captain Beefheart, or Don Van Vliet. Known for his bizarre and groundbreaking music, Beefheart reportedly saw the Beatles as the reason rock lost its primal energy. One former record exec claimed he called their music nursery rhymes that castrated rock's sexuality. During Trout Mask replica sessions, he allegedly told his band, "If the Beatles are evolution, we're going backward to when music was dangerous." He even hosted Beatles listening parties just to mock the chord progressions and how safe they sounded. That defiant attitude influenced generations of underground artists, pushing them to reject pop formulas and chase uncomfortable truths. Now let's talk about Neil Young. Yes, the folk rock legend. According to insiders, Neil had serious issues with the Beatles' focus on mass appeal. He reportedly told fellow artists they write for the crowd, not the soul. And even confronted George Harrison at a Laurel Canyon party, accusing the band of perfecting safe rebellion. His entire lo-fi sound was allegedly a rejection of the Beatles' polished aesthetic. A former label exec said Neil would often say, "They sound like a music box. Want my songs to sound like an earthquake in a garage." It's a philosophy that still echoes through modern indie music. Coming in at number 2, Lou Reed of the Velvet Underground. Reed's take on the Beatles was harsh. He believed they represented a sugary escape from real life. A former factory insider claims Lou often shouted, "The Beatles sing about love while the world burns." At a New York gallery, Reed reportedly told Paul McCartney that the Beatles created musical wallpaper for people who don't want to face the truth. The Velvet Underground's dark, experimental style was, according to multiple sources, intentionally built as an anti-Beatles manifesto, proving that rock could be terrifying, raw, and brutally honest. Finally, the number 1 spot goes to Ray Davies of the Kinks. His alleged bitterness toward the Beatles stemmed from deep personal and professional resentment. Industry sources claim Ray often said, "They get credit for what we did first because they had better faces and better PR." One infamous story suggests he confronted John Lennon at the BBC, accusing him of writing nursery rhymes while the Kinks tackled real-world issues. Lennon's reported reply, "Maybe you should write better nursery rhymes," it said. That Davies encouraged fellow British artists to stop copying the Beatles and carve their own path, sparking a whole wave of alt-British swad rock that pushed back against the Beatles' sanitized global image. So there you have It's Six legendary artists who secretly or publicly challenged the Beatles' place on music's throne, from mocking their music to rejecting their message. These names prove that not everyone in the music world saw the Fab Four as flawless. And whether you agree or not, their voices shaped entire genres: punk, experimental, indie, and dared to say what many only whispered. Thanks for watching Hollywood Bulletin. If this shook your view of music history, be sure to like, share, and comment with your take, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for more behind the scenes.